And again, we got some of these topping signals for that with that topping tail. Again, is this a correction? Like right here, we kind of corrected sideways, counter trend kind of a move, or is this a reversal? Again, we're likely in wave 3, so if we've had a legitimate breakout, we could throw back. But as I've said, this could just be a massive first wave of wave 3 if we get something like what we had with NVIDIA with its recent wave 3, just huge. Again, watching this closely. Now we are pulling back with that signal, tagging that upper Bollinger Band, getting a topping tail, and pulling back. Trend signals are still bullish. And today, as I'm making the video here on Friday, we're getting this sell signal right here. So do we get a bigger pullback, or does this breakout fail? The Elliott wave count I've shown you, this is a 3, we go up and get 4 if we get a divergence. If we don't get a divergence, maybe we have a wave 1 done and we're going to get a wave 2. Be open-minded to that, because Elliott wave is speculation. Okay, it's totally speculation. If we, if I told you I have alternative Elliott wave counts. If we have the wave 1 completed, then we can get a deeper pullback for wave 2, but still have a higher low above this level, so keep that in mind. I do want to say one thing quickly. This thing between concerns about Powell getting fired or Powell resigning, it's starting to become more possible now, and that could be something that ends up rattling the market. Members of Congress are now referring Powell over to the Department of Justice for lying to Congress on his testimony about this renovation of the Fed facilities there. So again, Powell may just say forget it and throw up his hands and resign. That's what I think they're trying to force him out. Whether he sticks around or not, all I'm telling you is if Powell ends up resigning or Trump ends up firing, which that's questionable whether he could do that. Some say yes, some say no. I don't have the answer to that. But regardless, so if Powell resigning, it could rattle markets for the short term, but then it's going to appoint somebody that's going to want to cut rates, and I think it's going to end up being Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary. And the markets could rally on his nomination or Trump may pick. But I don't know if anything becomes of this, but now referring Powell over for criminal investigation for lying to Congress, Powell may just not want to deal with this stuff and just go ahead and resign. Who knows? But if he does, it could rattle markets. Just keep that in mind. Maybe Powell sticks it out and nothing becomes of this. Who knows? Maybe there's a different catalyst. But I'm just telling you, they're putting a lot of pressure on Powell right now, and he may just say, forget it, I don't want to deal with this anymore, and go ahead and resign. I don't know if he will. Maybe he wants to, he said he wants to fulfill his term, which ends in May of 2026. You start referring somebody over for criminal prosecution for lying to Congress. I mean, they want this guy out, So again, markets could be rattled on that initially if it does happen, if Powell ends up resigning or if Trump ends up firing him, which there's questions surrounding that, whether that's possible. I don't have the answer to that, but just pay attention to that issue. We've had these sell signals. Does that give us a smaller pullback? Does it give us a bigger one? Do we get the divergence on the RSI? Just things I'm watching. Just a quick update. I am traveling on vacation. I'll do a more in-depth video over the weekend, either Saturday or Sunday. Took my family to Disney World for a little vacation, so I'm traveling. I wanted to quickly update you. Again, we had this sell signal here. Now again, we don't know if it's going to be a reversal or just a pullback. Over here we just had a small pullback. Over here it marked this bottom. Over here it marked this top. Bottom, tops. Sometimes these counter trend moves like we had over here or down over here and here. We don't know if is it going to be just a small pullback, hold above the orange line, or if we get something bigger and test the purple line or even try to take it out. Right now, I still think that you have a good chance we're in wave 3 I said, but so far this topping tail of the signal is playing out. Right now we're down about 1.25% on Bitcoin here during the Friday session. Here in the daily time frame, we still have the possibility of a divergence developing. We're still in positive territory. Over here, moved into positive territory, and then we bounced off the 50-period moving average right here after getting back above the 50, the green line. And we're still in positive territory with the RSI. It was going back and forth. We were going sideways, and then we've had this breakout above the dotted red lines right here. And again, RSI stopped going back and forth, showing a sideways move, but now in an uptrend with our breakout here, as we talked about, the breakout above the resistance zone. So again, if we are just back testing this trend line right here from these previous highs right here to this high, we can go a little bit lower. These two highs, including the shadow, and here I've slightly excluded it to touch this one that would be down here, that would give us a bigger pullback towards the 20, towards the horizontal support level there at 112,000. If this trend line holds and we try to bounce off of it, then you might form a divergence here. But if we break down below the 10, which we're testing right now, then you want to be watching that 20 period. You want to be watching horizontal support, the resistance zone now turn support at 112,000, and our trend line here, again, from these highs, this high slightly excluding the shadow at the January peak, connected to this peak right here from May 22nd. And again, that takes us near that 20 period moving average. So just some levels to be watching. Bitcoin's down 1.30% at the moment. If we go higher, we could see the stochastic recycle back up. We could see the histogram turn back up as well. And again, before seeing the MACD roll over. And again, it's possible. Remember, Elliott wave is speculation. I've marked right here that we have, with the breakout of the resistance zone, we've completed the 2, and we're getting this large 3. We're getting these smaller waves. As I said, my last update, again, could just be a massive first wave of an extended wave 3. Something like what we saw with NVIDIA. And here I've marked this pullback as a 4. Again, this is speculation, and I have alternative ways to count this, so don't read too much into it. But here we pull back to the 50. Right now we're trying to test it again. If we take it out and we go lower, then maybe you come back to this support zone area here at the 112,000 area or so. So again, that could be in play. Again, I'm watching to see, does a larger divergence develop on the RSI in that daily time frame? If we do end up getting a bigger sell-off, I'll be watching this area here, and I'll be watching, again, those trend lines I showed you on the daily chart near this same area. Trend lines going back from the previous highs in December and January, as I showed you. And one more time right here, if we take out this trend line and the 10 period, then we want to be watching the 20, and we can go back to this trend line here, or from these highs, slightly excluding the shadow, again touching the peak here on May 22nd, and again right in there near that 20 period moving average, and horizontal support, which was the resistance zone, our previous peak at 112,000. So something to pay attention to. Do we end up setting up a divergence here? Do we end up going a little bit lower and then turning back up and getting a divergence or not? You don't have to form a divergence, but oftentimes you do. We had the topping tail. The next bar was a reversal bar here. Again, is that a short-term pullback, or is that a top that gives us a bigger sell-off? Again, over here we've got some of these reversals that just gave us pullbacks. Over here we got a reversal that marked the bottom. Over here, a reversal that marked the top. So I'm watching closely. We got a reversal here that gave us a counter trend, counter trend, counter trend. So again, what is this? I'm going to be watching closely. No topping signal associated with that. Cloud still green. The lower end of the cloud, 109,000. Horizontal support, 112,000. And here's the line again from the previous highs. Now again, here I've connected the December high, this peak right here, to this peak right here on May 22nd, slightly excluding the shadow there. But again, that is that area where a 20 period moving average comes in, not seen on this chart, but that's where that 20 period moving average comes in. So if we get a bigger pullback, again, we could try to back test that trend line right there before moving higher. Still possible, but you start losing this area, then that would be a bearish event. So you'd be losing the trend line, you'd be losing the horizontal support, resistance, turn support right in there. So again, we'll be watching this area here. Again, as I pointed out last time, we turned off of this trend line right here. We got above this trend line, and this is our weekly trend line with the linear scaling, excluding the shadow right here in our 2021 high. We excluded that, and we tagged it there at the second 2021 peak, and we turned off of it in December and January. Well, we cleared that. We've come up to this other trend line right here, where I've connected the 2017 peak and the shadow, including the 2021 high. That's where we halted, and we're getting a topping tail in the weekly time frame. So again, there's risk that we get a failed breakout, but as I said, it's likely that we are in a wave 3 with the breakout, but there's still the possibility of a failed breakout. Where Elliott wave is speculation. I am looking for a 5-leg push higher. Stalling at this trend line right here with shadow from the first 2021 peak. We've halted at resistance here in the weekly time frame. As I've said, we could be back testing this trend line right here that excludes that shadow from 2021, which again, we're pulling back to it. So again, are we testing some of these levels or end up dropping just a little bit under this level and then get back above it? Are we back testing some of these levels that I'm talking about? This is what I think is going on, though. I do believe that if we are in wave 3, if we've completed wave 2 now, then eventually we're going to go much higher. Like I keep saying, again, we could be in a massive wave 3, extended wave 3, and that's why I'm saying those waves that I'm looking at on the 4-hour chart, that could just be the first wave of the wave 3. Possible, but again, this is what I think is going to happen. I think we're eventually going to go to this upper channel line.